Most people believe that leaving $5,000 in a traditional savings account is the ultimate move for financial security. You've been told since childhood that the bank is the safest place for your hard-earned cash. Ben is here to tell you that this safety is a carefully crafted illusion designed to keep the banking industry profitable while you stay stagnant. When you deposit that $5,000, the bank doesn't just let it sit in a vault like a dragon guarding gold. They immediately put that money to work. They lend it out for mortgages, car loans, and credit cards at interest rates of 10%, 15%, or even 25%. Meanwhile, they pay you a measly 0.1% interest. This is the first layer of the trap. The bank uses your capital to generate massive wealth for themselves while giving you a participation trophy in return. You feel safe because you see the number $5,000 when you log into your mobile app. But that number is lying to you. It is a digital representation of a debt the bank owes you, not actual growing wealth. By keeping your money in the safe environment, you are essentially giving the bank a nearly free loan so they can get richer. The psychological comfort of seeing that balance stay the same is exactly what they want you to feel. But while you feel comfortable, your potential for growth is being suffocated. True financial safety doesn't come from a stagnant balance. It comes from assets that you control and that work for you, not for a billionaire CEO's quarterly bonus. It is time to stop being the bank's cheapest source of funding and start being your own chief financial officer. The biggest reason your $5,000 is a trap is a silent, invisible thief called inflation. Let's look at the math. If inflation is running at 5% and your bank account pays you practically zero, your $5,000 loses $250 of purchasing power every single year. You still see the same $5,000 on the screen. But when you go to the grocery store or try to buy a car, you realize that money buys significantly less than it did 12 months ago. In 2026, the cost of living is rising faster than most people can keep up with. By leaving that money in a standard account, you are guaranteeing a loss. It is a mathematical certainty. The bank knows this. They are hedging against inflation by investing your money into hard assets and high-interest loans, while you are left holding a bag of cash that is melting like an ice cube in the sun. This is why the middle class feels like they are running on a treadmill that keeps getting faster. They are saving in a currency that is intentionally designed to lose value over time. If you don't move that $5,000 into something that outpaces inflation, you are effectively paying a stupidity tax to the financial system. You worked hard for those $5,000. You traded hours of your life, your energy, and your talent to earn it. To let it sit there and rot while the bank laughs all the way to the vault is a tragedy. You must understand that cash is a melting ice cube, and your goal is to freeze it into a solid asset before it disappears completely. Opportunity cost is the most expensive price you will ever pay in the world of finance. When you lock $5,000 into a trap of a savings account, you aren't just losing money to inflation. You are losing the future version of that money. Let's imagine you took that $5,000 and put it into a diversified index fund or a high-quality dividend portfolio. Historically, the market returns about 10% per year. In 7 years, that $5,000 could have doubled to $10,000. In 20 years, through the magic of compound interest, it could have grown into over $33,000 without you lifting a single finger. By leaving it in the bank trap, you are choosing to throw away $28,000 of future wealth. That is the cost of playing it safe. The bank understands the power of compounding better than anyone, which is why they never keep their own money in a savings account. They are constantly moving, constantly rotating, and constantly seeking the highest return on investment. Every day that your $5,000 sits idle is a day that it isn't having babies. Money is a tool, and a tool that isn't being used is just taking up space. You need to stop thinking about what your money is worth today and start thinking about what it could be worth in a decade if it was actually put to work. The trap isn't just the low interest rate. The trap is the mental stagnation that prevents you from seeking better opportunities. Don't let your fear of a small market dip cost you a fortune in the long run. To truly understand why the bank is robbing you, you have to understand the secret mechanics of fractional reserve banking. When you hand over your $5,000, the bank is only required to keep a tiny fraction of that money on hand, often as low as 0% in some jurisdictions or 10% in others. They take the rest and create new money through lending. In simple terms, your $5,000 deposit allows the bank to generate $50,000 or more in new loans. They are creating money out of thin air based on your deposit, and then charging other people interest on that new money. You are the catalyst for their entire profit engine, yet you receive none of the dividends. It is the most lopsided partnership in human history. You take all the risk of the currency losing value, while they take all the profit from the expansion of credit. If everyone went to the bank today to withdraw their $5,000, the system would collapse because the money isn't actually there. It's out in the world making the bank more money. This realization should be a wake-up call. You are participating in a system where you provide the fuel, but you aren't allowed to drive the car. By keeping exactly $5,000 a common comfort amount, you are the perfect customer for them. You have enough to be useful to their lending ratios, but not enough to feel like you need a private wealth manager who would tell you to get your money out of there immediately. Break the cycle by understanding that the bank is a business, not a public service, and their business model relies on your financial illiteracy. Banks love the term emergency fund. They have spent decades marketing this concept to make you feel like any money not in a liquid savings account is at risk. While having a cushion is important, the $5,000 trap uses this fear to keep your capital unproductive. They want you to believe that the only way to be prepared for a rainy day is to keep your cash in their hands where it earns nothing. In reality, in 2026, there are dozens of ways to have liquid assets that actually pay you. High-yield accounts, short-term treasury bills, or even liquid money market funds can offer 5% or more while still giving you access to your cash within 24 hours. The bank doesn't want you to know about these because they want your emergency money to stay in their 0% bucket. This is a psychological cage. They use your natural human desire for security to keep you in a state of financial underperformance. Ask yourself, if an emergency happens, do you need the cash in 5 seconds, or can it wait until tomorrow morning? For 99% of people, a 24-hour delay is irrelevant, but the difference in interest over 10 years is life-changing. We have been programmed to value the feeling of liquidity over the reality of wealth building. Ben wants you to stop falling for the marketing. You can be safe and smart at the same time. You can have an emergency fund that actually grows. Don't let the bank's definitions of safety define your financial future. Escaping the $5,000 trap doesn't mean you should go out and buy a volatile meme coin or bet it all on a single stock. It means becoming an active manager of your own capital. The first step is to move your liquid cash to a high-yield environment that pays at least 4 to 5%. This ensures your emergency money is at least fighting back against inflation. Second, take any amount over your basic survival needs and put it into productive assets. Think about low-cost index funds that track the total market or the S&P 500. These funds allow you to own a piece of the 500 biggest companies in the world. Companies that are actively raising prices to beat inflation and generating profits every second. Third, consider dividend-paying assets. Imagine getting a check every 3 months just for owning a piece of a company. That is true passive income. Fourth, educate yourself on tax-advantaged accounts like an IRA or a 401k. These tools allow you to keep more of your gains and less in the hands of the government. The bank is counting on you being too lazy or too scared to make these moves. They win when you stay put. You win when you take action. The transition from a saver to an investor is the most important leap you will ever make. It is the difference between working for money and having your money work for you. Ben is here to tell you that $5,000 is a great start, but it is a terrible finish line. Take that money, get it out of the trap, and start building a legacy that the banks can't touch.